Look at the Gobi Desert. For thousands of years, this massive expanse of sand was considered dead space, a brutal wasteland where temperatures swing wildly and massive sandstorms swallow everything in their path. But today, if you fly over this exact same wasteland, you won't just see sand. You will see the largest machine humanity has ever constructed. Right now, China is executing a master plan to build an unbelievable 450 gigawatts of solar and wind power generation capacity across the Gobi and other desert regions. To put that into perspective, that is enough energy to power entire countries, generated in the middle of absolute nowhere. In the Kuboki Desert alone, a single megaproject is being constructed with a massive $11.5 billion investment. But there is a massive multi-billion-dollar catch. A fatal flaw that Western engineers thought would make this project completely impossible. The energy is being generated out here in the barren West. But the people, the megacities, and the massive manufacturing hubs, they are located thousands of miles away on the eastern coast. And in the world of physics, you cannot just send electricity across a continent. If you try, the power grid literally burns up the energy before it ever reaches its destination. It is known as the distance tax. So, how did China solve an unsolvable physics problem? They didn't just build solar panels. They spent billions building a piece of sci-fi infrastructure that the rest of the world abandoned, the ultra-high voltage grid. And it is quietly shifting the balance of global manufacturing forever. To understand why this project is so terrifyingly impressive, you have to understand the fundamental flaw of renewable energy. Sunlight and wind are free, but they are usually strongest in places where nobody actually lives. In China's case, over 80% of their energy demand comes from the coastal cities like Shanghai and Shenzhen, but their best solar and wind resources are locked away in the deserts of the West. Normally, when you send electricity down a standard power line, it encounters resistance. Think of it like trying to push water through a pipe that is filled with rocks. The further the electricity travels, the more it bumps into the metal atoms of the wire, creating heat. By the time electricity travels from the Gobi Desert to Beijing using normal power lines, you would lose a massive percentage of that power just to heat. It's like paying for a full tank of gas, but spilling half of it on the highway before you get home. Because of this, Western countries historically built their power plants right next to their cities. You bring the coal or the gas to the city, and you burn it locally. But China couldn't do that with solar. You can't move the desert. They had to move the electricity. And to do that, they had to rewrite the rules of the power grid. The solution was a technology called UHV, or ultra-high voltage direct current transmission. Engineers describe these ultra-high voltage power lines as high-speed electric power railways. If standard transmission lines are local dirt roads, a UHV line is a massive, frictionless, 10-lane superhighway. By stepping the voltage up to an absolutely mind-bending 800,000 to 1 million volts, the electricity is pushed so hard and so fast that the friction inside the wire practically disappears. This allows them to transmit up to 5 times more electricity at minimal energy loss. They can generate electricity in the dead center of the Gobi Desert and instantly teleport it 2,000 miles to a factory in Shanghai, with almost zero power loss. The engineering required to build these lines is staggering. The towers are as tall as skyscrapers. The cables are as thick as tree trunks. By 2025, China's cross-country transmission capacity from west to east reached a staggering 340 gigawatts, meeting nearly a quarter of the nation's peak demand. But building the transmission lines was only half the battle, because building the actual solar panels in the desert brought a completely different nightmare to life. The Gobi is an incredibly hostile environment. If you just drop millions of glass solar panels into a desert, the wind will immediately cover them in a thick layer of dust. And a dusty solar panel doesn't generate electricity. So, how do you clean millions of panels in a place with no water? First, they brought in fleets of automated cleaning robots. These waterless, AI-driven rovers drive along the tops of the panels every single night, sweeping the dust away so the panels are perfectly clean for the morning sun. But then, the engineers noticed something miraculous happening. The solar panels were actually fighting back against the desert. Because millions of panels were providing shade to the desert floor, the sand stopped baking in the direct sun. The wind was blocked by the steel structures. Moisture from the occasional rain was trapped in the soil instead of immediately evaporating. Suddenly, grass started to grow. To capitalize on this, operators began planting specialized crops and bringing in thousands of sheep to graze directly under the solar panels. The sheep act as natural lawnmowers, keeping the grass short so it doesn't block the panels. While their presence fertilizes the soil, they didn't just build a power plant. They accidentally built a terraforming machine, turning the barren desert into a massive oasis of green energy and agriculture. So, why does a solar farm in the middle of a Chinese desert matter to you? Why does it matter to the global economy? Because of one simple rule: energy is the cost of everything. If you want to build an electric car, a smartphone, or a massive AI data center, your biggest underlying cost is the electricity required to run the factory. While factories in Europe and the United States are struggling with fluctuating natural gas prices and aging, localized power grids, China is plugging its industrial machine directly into the desert sun. Take the Kuboki Desert Base. Once fully complete, this 16 million kilowatt designed megaproject will be capable of transferring roughly 40 billion kilowatt hours of electricity to the Beijing-Tianjin-Hebei region every single year. This isn't just an environmental project to save the planet. This is a cold, calculated geopolitical weapon. By dropping the cost of electricity to near zero using these UHV superhighways, China is ensuring that no other country on Earth can compete with their manufacturing costs. They are effectively building a moat around their economy, made entirely of cheap, unlimited energy. The West invented the solar panel. They pioneered the early power grids. But by combining extreme-scale infrastructure with the ultra-high voltage technology the rest of the world ignored, China has turned a desolate wasteland into the engine room of the 21st century. The question now isn't whether renewable energy works. The question is, what happens to the rest of the global economy when one country essentially figures out how to manufacture for free? If you want to understand the hidden megaprojects shaping our future, hit the subscribe button. We have a lot more to uncover. Thanks for watching.